people who need it the most are not going to have it if we don't make some decisions in this country pretty quick. I want to talk to you about three things. Too many terrorists, too much debt, too few jobs. As to the terrorists, if I'm President of the United States, we're going back to Iraq and we're going to pound these guys in the ground. And we're not going to leave till the job's done. If you think you can defend this nation without some of our soldiers going back to get it right this time, then I don't know what movie you're looking at. We left Iraq way too soon. I know it's been 10 years, but it's hard, folks. It's hard to build people up who've never known anything but heartache and hatred. President Obama was told by his military commanders, we need to leave a force behind. He said no, and the rest is history. Bush made mistakes, Obama made mistakes, I made mistakes. The biggest mistake we could make is let these guys get strong over there because they're coming here. 3,500 soldiers on the ground is not enough. We need about 10,000. We need a couple of aviation battalions to take the fight to ISIL. We're going to need inventors and trainers at the battalion level. We're going to need forward air controllers to drop bombs on the right people. Then you got to go into Syria. The Caliphate's headquarters in Syria. If we don't hit them there, they're coming here. I don't know how to destroy ISIL without some American ground component. This is not working from the air. So here's what I would do as your president. I would send more troops back to Iraq, as I just described. I would go to the Arabs in the region and say, we're going to use your armies, and you're going to pay for this war because we paid for the last two. And we're going in together. I'd go to the Turks, the Egyptians, the Jordanians, and the Saudis, and we'd put together a regional force, and we'd be about 10% of it. And we're going to go into Syria, and we're going to kill every one of these guys we can find, and we're going to hold the territory. When it comes to radical Islam, whatever it takes, as long as it takes until they defeat it. And watch our country be walked over and walked over and walked over. I'm not going to be a commander-in-chief that allows the enemies of our nation, like Iran, to have the weapons to kill millions of us one day.
When's the last time the U.S. won?
When's the last time the U.S. won a war? When Iraq in 2009.
That was not a war.
At the end of the day, folks, the surge did work.
Not a declared war.
At the end of the day, folks, we're at war. Do you believe we're at war?
No.
I think we're at war. You know who we're at war with? Radical Islam. Any Presbyterians here?
Yeah!
You were predestined to be here. Thanks for coming. How many of you think we're in a religious war? I do. They'd kill everybody here if they could. What more do they have to do before you believe they mean what they say? Make me your commander-in-chief, and we'll keep them from coming back here again. Make me your commander-in-chief, and I'll have the back of the 1% who are doing the fighting for the rest of us. Make me the commander-in-chief, and our nation will be respected again. Make me commander-in-chief, because we need one who knows what the hell they're doing.
22 years, the United States Army, regular army.
The second thing that we need to do is get our nation out of debt. Does that make sense? We're on the road to Greece, right? $18 trillion in debt. How do you get $18 trillion in debt? Bipartisanship. Both parties spending more than you're giving them to spend. But you know what drives the debt? The baby boomer retirement. Anybody born from 1946 to 64? Anybody born after 64? We want our money. 80 million of us are going to retire in the next 25 years, and we're going to wipe out Medicare and Social Security. Remember Ronald Reagan? Ronald Reagan rebuilt our military. He put our enemies on notice, and we were respected again. But he sat down with Tim O'Neill, and he adjusted the age of retirement from 65 to 67 to save Social Security from bankruptcy. It needs to be done again. I'll be the Ronald Reagan if you can find me a Tip O'Neill. I want to work with Democrats. I'm running to be the Republican nominee, but I want to be the president of all of us. Tell me how you save this country without the parties working together. Tell me how you fix Medicare and Social Security with nobody on the other side helping you. You cannot. Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill had a drink every night. If I'm president, we're going to drink more. And after a couple of drinks, we're going to stop the BS and we're going to work together. If you're running for president of the United States, you ought to be willing to openly embrace working with the other side if they'll work with you. Folks, we're running out of time. The American dream is going to die on our watch if we don't do something about it, and the enemies of the nation are getting stronger as I speak. There's no problem without a solution, but let me tell you the commonality, and I'll take questions. Sacrifice. Some of us have got to sacrifice to save this nation. To the 1% who are fighting this war, you have to be willing to go back, and I know you will. What more sacrifice can you make than to go back over there so they don't come here? As to the rest of us, are we willing to sacrifice a little bit for our country? I am. I make $175,000 a year. I will take less in Social Security because I can afford it to give it to people who need it the most. I'm willing to sit down with Democrats and fix immigration instead of yelling about it all the damn time. Once you secure your border and control who gets a job, as to the 11 million, let's be practical. Nobody wants a crook. To the rest, you can stay, but you got to learn our language to say. You have to pay taxes, and you have to get in the back of the line, and you have to keep your nose clean. The reason I want to be your president is because this country's been incredibly good to me. As a young man, I was bitter. Why was my life turned upside down? Why was I affected by losing my parents when I was 22? The older I got, the more I appreciated. It's not about what I lost, it's what I had. I had two parents who loved me. How many people in this country who have one parent, maybe? I had family. How many people have nobody? I had friends. I was truly loved and taken care of. I'm a Republican. I believe in limited government, but most of us are one car wreck away from needing somebody to help you. So if I get to be your president, we're going to do the hard things, and we're going to do them together. Because, folks, we're all in this together. Thank you. Than anything I can think of. This is a generational struggle, folks. Let me tell you how it went, how it ends. We win, they lose, but it's going to take a while.
Yes, Senator. You said in your speech there, Navy's at its smallest size since 1915. Now, obviously that's true, but I mean we also have less horse and bayonets than we had during World War I. So why exactly do you think we need a bigger Navy? I mean, the terrorists aren't using ships to attack us.
He says, why do we need a bigger Navy? Because the terrorists have no ships.
That's right.
You know why we need a bigger Navy?
Because the Air Force flies over the
We need a bigger Navy. If you're going to pivot to Asia, what do you pivot with? A rowboat? We're going to be spending less on our national defense by 2021 than any time since World War II. We're going to spend half of what we normally spend on our defense needs. The reason I want a bigger Navy is to make sure China knows we still exist. Why is China doing what they're doing? Building islands over resource-rich territory held by others? Because they can. When Obama drew a red line against Assad, young man, he crossed it, nothing happened. Putin and China took that as a sign of weakness. You know why I want a larger Navy? I want Putin to know we're not going away. I want to rebuild our defenses like Ronald Reagan, get us out of debt, balance the budget, and take the fight not only to ISIL, but let Putin know you're not going to walk all over our friends. Remember when we signed the deal with the Ukraine to give up their nuclear weapons? We guaranteed their sovereignty. Well, Putin has stepped all over that. If I'm President of the United States, we're going to take natural gas we own, we're going to sell it to our friends in Europe to undercut his monopoly. We're going to give weapons to the Ukraine so they can defend themselves. We're going to rebuild NATO so he knows that America's back. That's why we need a bigger Navy. Right here.
Yeah, I'm here to advocate for Alzheimer's.
Alzheimer's, yes, sir.
It's proven that the Alzheimer's is expanding. We have an epidemic of Alzheimer's. My wife died of Alzheimer's when she was 63. She suffered for 6 years with this disease. By the year 2050, we're going to be spending $1.2 trillion Medicare, Medicaid, and then also to care for Alzheimer's patients and caregivers.
Okay, I got it. How many of you are willing to spend more money on Alzheimer's research? How many of you are willing to spend more money on education? How many of you realize that if we don't reform entitlements, we're going to have no money to spend on anything? I'm all for helping Alzheimer's because it's a big cost that's growing. It's a terrible disease that maybe can be cured, at least blunted. I lost my uncle. But here's what I want to tell you. Any farmers here? We don't have any money left if we don't deal with the retirement of the baby boomers. By 2031, all the money we collect in taxes goes to pay Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, and interest on the debt. Does that make sense to you? If you don't adjust the age of retirement, and if you don't means test benefits, there's no money left to help anybody do anything else. There's no money left for the Department of Defense. Have you heard of Simpson Bowles? It's a bipartisan plan where you clean up the tax code, eliminate some deductions, and take the money and pay down debt. The Democrats have to agree for younger people to work longer because we all live longer. And if we don't ask people in my income level to give up some of their benefits, then we're going to lose a system for the people that need it the most. Please understand that there is no way to balance the budget unless you go to where the money is being spent. 2/3 of the federal government is on autopilot. If Republicans and Democrats do not do what Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill did soon, we're going to become Greece. We're going to lose our way of life. We've become a debtor nation. But here's the good news. We're one big deal away from saving America. Here's the bad news. Nobody in this campaign is talking about it. Would I do revenue? Would I put revenue on the table if a Democrat would adjust the age of retirement and means test benefits? Yes. I'm not going to raise taxes, sir, but I would eliminate a deduction to pay down debt. How do we have money for Alzheimer's research and everything else outside of Medicare and Social Security? You got to reform these systems or we lose the ability to defend ourselves and care for each other.